Welcome to Fueling Your Legacy, hosted by Samuel Knickerbocker. Each week, we expose the faulty foundational mindsets of the past and rebuild a new, stronger foundation essential in creating your legacy. We've got a lot of work to do, so let's get started. Welcome back to Fuel Your Legacy, and this whole week has been phenomenal. We've been talking about being your best self and kind of a little bit of marketing and how to live in authenticity with that. And now today we have our guest on, whose name is Howard Wolpoff. I'm super excited to hear from him. He's done some incredible things. I've kind of looked at all the links that he sent me and get to know him better and his mission, his passion. And he has some great insights here. So if you're driving, have whoever's in the car with you take some notes, or just pull over and take some notes, or just sit and listen to this when you have the ability to take some notes, because there's going to be some key factors that he's going to talk about that could help you grow your business. So, and even if you aren't running a business currently, it can help you grow your life. These principles, they're in all aspects of our life. So with that being said, go ahead and take it away and let us know a little bit more about you, where you came from, and what you're currently working on, Howard.
Sure, and I appreciate that. Again, my name is Howard Wolpoff, business marketing strategist and coach. I've had a varied career. I started back in New York. I'm actually living in Jacksonville, Florida right now. In New York, I had the opportunity to be involved with two startup businesses that really have exploded and have long legacies in connecting with the theme of the show. One was Chelsea Piers, which is a big sports and entertainment complex that's involved during the construction process that really has involved almost 20 years at this point of amazing sports facilities and people having opportunities to get exposure to things in New York that they don't really get a chance to in the city. And then part of the launch of the Brooklyn Cyclones minor league baseball team, which just won only their second championship. I was there for their first one back in 2001. Setting up minor league baseball in a big town city with two major league baseball teams, but having the legacy of the Brooklyn Dodgers, connecting every aspect of that was a dream come true for a big baseball fan like me. But I've evolved into radio from there, working nationally with Westwood One and Metro Traffic. Locally here in Jacksonville, I was the director of sales and marketing for the 1010XL, the sports radio station here, helping them to get the Jacksonville Jaguars contract as the flagship station. Working with a number of different advertising and marketing agencies, one in Houston, Texas, one here in Jacksonville, and just launching out on my own business, Profit Master Business Solutions, where I can really hands-on work with small, medium-sized businesses, helping them get the revenues that they're looking for.
That's incredible. I think those are skills that are so important. I love the idea of being able to take somebody else's legacy, like these major league baseball teams, and create something almost under the scope of that is able to just forward that legacy down to another demographic that maybe didn't have access to the best, and we say the major leagues, but then they get access through kind of a stepping stone. What was the process of setting that up like?
It was an evolution of, I guess you have to know the battles between the Mets and the Yankees, where they both wanted something. They had to kind of do a little give and take with each other. So the Yankees got a team in Staten Island, and the Mets got a team in Brooklyn at the same time. And it really exploded for Brooklyn because it brought baseball back since the Dodgers left in 1957. And we were able to get every living Brooklyn Dodger, every legacy piece of the Dodgers back into the ballpark. So we had a night for Duke Snider, and we had Gil Hodges' family there and Jackie Robinson's family there, retiring both their numbers. It really taught a lot of people who knew about being in Brooklyn but didn't understand the Dodgers a lot about baseball and that history, and then created history of their own. The New York Penn League is really right out of the draft, so you're seeing a lot of kids who will never make it to the majors, but every once in a while you get the guys that really explode. Right now, the biggest name, Michael Conforto with the Mets, is an all-star that played for them. Pete Alonso is just tied the rookie record for home runs. But it's amazing to see those guys develop into major leaguers. But it's all about bringing fun to baseball and getting families out there and having a good time no matter what the score is.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So is the minor league baseball team, is that always kind of a farm team for the bigger teams around, or is it just its own thing? Because we have the Bees out here in Salt Lake that's just a minor league, and they're okay.
It's a little bit of both. Mostly there are a number of different leagues around the country that are part of the farm systems of Major League Baseball. Single A, double A, triple A, those are the levels that people are most familiar with. But you also have some independent leagues in different areas. I know there's one in the Northeast. The Northern League was famous with the St. Paul Saints. Those are all independent teams. They get players who somewhat have washed out of Major League Baseball farm systems, or major leaguers who want another chance to show scouts that they still can play. And it definitely fills the seats in the stands and fills the rosters with some competitive baseball. But really, the development of minor league baseball is all the players and the free agents that the major league teams sign and develop and increase and move up different levels as they improve and want to get them ready for major league play.
Yeah, that's awesome. Because I think that the reason that's so intriguing to me is there's so many aspects of just business in general that system, whether it's the football system where they go to Canada or they go somewhere else to play, or basketball has a similar system, hockey has a similar system, baseball has a similar system, where maybe you aren't ready to go join the Apple and create that type of company, but there's check marks along the way where your business needs to be performing well at to jump into the next arena, and then kind of deal with those issues that are in that arena, master those, and then move up and slowly move up there. Now there's other companies. I say slowly, right? I read the book. What's it called? Shoe Dog. I don't know if you've read Shoe Dog.
No, I have not yet.
That book is incredible. I mean, but we view these companies, these bigger companies, as overnight successes sometimes, but they spent years working and almost right. I mean, Nike was almost bankrupt. In fact, it was bankrupt the day it went public. And then they went from being basically bankrupt under investigation by the FBI to a multi-billion-dollar company by just going public.
I think the key is that in general and in life, you never stop learning. And using minor league baseball example, these guys are learning how to play baseball better, how to better understand what pitch sequences are coming, how to hit that curveball the way they probably couldn't in high school and in college. And companies always have to figure out the next steps. Like, some of it is the skills of what they're doing. So if they're a plumber, they need to be focusing on exactly what is evolving in plumbing, in toiletry, and the different toilets evolve. You have to make sure you understand how to put them in, sprinkler systems, how they work with the skills that you have and you're evolving there, but also learning how to run your business, not just on the operating end, and making sure you have the right tools on the marketing end as well. You need to make sure that you're getting the leads and the sales if you're going to survive in the business.
Yeah, absolutely. So when did you, tell me the story of when you finally decided, or at least recognized, that your gift was to help businesses scale. Your gift was to help businesses grow. And what about that made you want to kind of go off on your own, leave corporate America and building somebody else's dream and start building your own?
Well, when I was working in radio, I really had an opportunity to see how messaging can really affect a campaign and how the campaign can affect sales and revenues. Some of them more on the larger scale. I had an opportunity to work with Lowe's and Welch's and some really great campaigns. We were doing 10-second traffic sponsorships as part of the messaging campaigns that they had on radio, on TV. And then involved when I moved on to a local radio station, working with these businesses on their campaigns, on their messaging. You help them speak to the masses and get results of what the kind of things that they're looking for. We had a diet plan here. I say most of the country has this company, Metabolic Research Centers. They were focused mainly in this market on women. And when we took over a campaign for them, 80% of their business was women. And then a year later, based on the type of campaign we did on our sports radio station, speaking to men who actively were listening and staying within the commercial blocks, their revenues jumped, and they were 55% male customers by the time 1 year's time went by with this campaign. So it really spoke to what this medium can do to help companies large and small get results and get leads and get sales. So as I've evolved working with ad and marketing agencies, you really are hands-on in the trenches with companies, getting a better understanding what their needs are and helping to create those strategies for them. But with my last agency, we had a great way to drive prospects into the agency, and that was through, similar to podcasts, we made an online TV network called Buzz TV, and we would do interviews with them on camera on a regular basis, 5-minute interviews with business owners and home improvement specialists, entertainment coming out in the community, and put it out on our social media channels, evolving into 4 local TV shows on the NBC and ABC affiliates here in the market. But the next step was we sat there and spoke to them on the interview. We moved them into another room and talked to them about their marketing. Now, the strategy there was to focus on a specific audit of their business first, and then based on the audit, determine what we wanted to do. But in the conversations I had with them, I found they had a lot of different needs, and some of them really didn't have the funds for this, but they had a list of things that they wanted to address. And it just told me that there were so many companies out there that had questions and had the need for someone to hold their hand, and even more than that, to help get them from point A to point B to point C. And as working at that agency, I didn't feel we were fulfilling that. So here's a better opportunity for me to really address the things that they have as needs, but also spend more time analyzing how to quickly turn the switch and get them more leads, more revenues, and sales quickly without spending that additional money on marketing and advertising.
See, that's so interesting. It's fascinating because a few things come to my mind. Just like even hearing about that, because a lot of people think the radio is dead, or that those types, and maybe the radio. I don't think the radio is dead, just because I know how many people I know that still listen to it. I don't personally listen to radio that much. I listen to podcasts, but podcasts are basically just a radio station that you get to control what you're hearing. But even podcasts have ads, and you're right, those ads, I feel like the ads on podcasts are longer than the ads on radio. Radio, they do keep them fairly short, 5 to 10, maybe 15-second long commercial for one thing. Where on a podcast, you'll see podcast episodes, their commercials will be 30 to 45 seconds long for whatever they're offering. The thing that I'm curious about is, well, 2 things. One, how important have you found, how important have you found it to be able to share your advertisement in 10 seconds versus maybe a minute? Like, what's the value of 10 seconds versus a minute?
It depends on where you're using that value. The strength of the traffic sponsorship, and this is before Clear Channel, now iHeartRadio, bought Metro Traffic a number of years back, that changed the way things are being done. But embedded messaging into the programming really was the key to what we were doing. So if you're listening to, and a lot of news stations have this as well at the moment, the traffic on the 10s, here's your traffic report brought to you by Geico, and they do the traffic report, and then we do a 10-second live message by the traffic reporter embedded into the programming near sticky content that people were already listening to, and then we go back into programming. So you weren't losing people. They actually were paying attention because they needed to know what traffic issues they may have during their travels. With commercials in the commercial block, that's where you have the problem right now. It's really gotten worse and worse, because in terrestrial radio, so you're flipping on your local radio stations, you're finding that once you hit the commercial block, you want to go to a different station and keep listening to your music. So here in Jacksonville, we have 2 big country stations. So once one country station goes to commercial, they go on to the other the country station. They're both in the top 10. So they're both very popular, and the commercials aren't being heard. The only place really on terrestrial radio that people are hearing commercials is talk radio. So news talk, sports talk, because you're not only hearing the topics, and a lot of the timely things are going on, whether you're talking about what's going on in Washington as you get into a commercial break. When we come back, here's this senator and what the senator has just said So you're intrigued enough, you don't want to miss it by flipping the stations. In sports, there's some other issue that's going on all the time. You're teasing about the interview, the next thing coming on. And at least the station I worked at, we had a lot of talent voicing over the commercials. So it was part of the programming, part of the feel of it. So people stayed on, and we got great results from the spots. Now with people listening to a lot of podcasts, people listen to the Sirius XM radio. Just about every car right now, when you buy a new car, you have the option of turning on Sirius XM. You gain the 3-month freebie as soon as you're starting, and then you don't want to lose it after that. So people are staying away from terrestrial radio, and unless you're on certain stations, the only stations I hear commercials on are the ones that are the simulcast of a news station. So when they go into commercial breaks, their commercials running on the station. If I'm listening to the 80s on 8, 90s on 9, I'm not hearing any commercials throughout my entire drive. So the radio is more challenging. You have to find different ways to better utilize it in podcasts, embedded into the middle of the podcast where you'll hear a lot of the commercials. You've decided you're spending your time on that podcast, so these companies can get a message out and speak to you.
Yeah, I think what's, I guess, I hope that people are listening to about that is not necessarily because this is, I talk to a lot of moms, I talk to a lot of parents, and this is the same thing, right? Your commercial, when you're trying to share with somebody something, is a short window. And if you transition abruptly from what the content to commercial back to content, then the embedded message isn't happening. And so it's in conversation, when somebody asks you, what do? You've got to master this art of content embedded, you're pre-telling them what you do, you're after telling them what to do, but the whole time is content in between, so they're interested. And it's almost like trying to tell them without them recognizing it. And to do that, I think, and this you kind of talked about this, but the integrity of the platform. If I'm an advertiser, how do I know which one to go to? How do I know which platform to go to? And I think what you said is so poignant. If it can't be embedded into the topics of conversation, then it's a lot harder to get people to listen to. Is that fairly accurate? Am I interpreting that?
That's fairly accurate. If you're embedded into the programming, if you're working with stations to get some sort of sponsorships involved with the station while they're in programming, people are going to hear a lot more. If we're dealing with a terrestrial radio station or you're in a commercial block, the statistics are shown the percentage of people that drop off with each commercial that's run. So if you're the first in the block, you have the most likely chance of getting your message heard. The second, third, fourth, fifth, and sometimes there are 8 or 9 commercials in a commercial block, you are lost. It's the tree that falls in the forest. Is anyone actually listening? Mm-hmm. But a lot of that is also, you can swing that a little bit towards how businesses view their website. Everyone assumes that I put up a website and everyone's going to come and I'm going to get business from it. The theory for years was the call to action. If I put my phone number right here, if I put I'll give you a free consultation here with the button to push, it's the money's going to come. But that's not true, because most people who come to a website are window shopping. They're browsing, they're researching, they're not buying. And that's where a lot of companies, especially small businesses, lose their understanding of what's going on, because their website isn't capturing information about anybody while they're there. You can go and the percentage of companies that are actually using Google Analytics to have a better understanding of how many people have shown up to their website is small to begin with. So if you know that 100 people are coming to your website every day because you have Google Analytics and your phone's not ringing, it's because you got to get creative with how to capture those 100 people, because they're never coming back. They might come back, but in truth, they're never coming back. There are some businesses that are more emergency purposed. A plumber is one. If your toilet's overflowing and you need to find a plumber, you might call whoever you've clicked on the website and do business. But anyone else that is out there, you got to make sure it's not just a call to action. You got to give them something. You got to give them a reason to want to continue a conversation with you. You got to create the 5 things that you need to know about the plumbing in your house. A very generic example, sure. but some sort of carrot that will excite them that they want to provide you with their email address because you're giving them something that could be of value to them. Now you can start a conversation with them and keep that going over the course of time. So when they're ready to purchase something from you or the type of business you do, you could be first on their mind and really have the real conversation to try to make that sale.
Yeah, no, I love it. And I just think that is my mind, because I spend most of my, I'm a businessman, so I spend a lot of my time in business. But the people that I talk to, I'm coaching moms or helping moms, dads, people communicate better in relationships, specifically around money. And all of these principles, they really are an overlapped and overlay. Yes, he's a business coach. Howard's a business coach, but he can help. These principles, they could apply to any area of your life. Anytime you're trying to get your message across to somebody else, which is basically always, if you're alive and walking around, you're communicating something. And if you're dead, you're still trying to get a message across. I'm dead. Stop talking to me. No, but that's the thing. Like these principles. This is what I love about this show and why I do Fuel Your Legacy is I'm on a mission to find principles that are true on every level of things, not just business, not just family life, not just finance, not just fun, but principles that expose or go over everything. There's one other thing that I want to talk about that you mentioned about your process when you were doing the Buzz TV, is exposure first. You had them come and you spent 5 minutes on TV with them or wherever that was. So you gave them exposure, then you moved them into an audit which is still beneficial. Even if they don't choose to work with you, you're still adding value. So exposure, audit, and then they're happy about it. They can walk away, but then you're like, hey, well, how about we actually help you with this? Now that we told you what the issue is, how about we add value and solve the issue? Here's a few examples of what could help. Still more value. And then that's when they say, well, I don't know how to do that, or I don't want to do it. Perfect. Well, what if we could help you accomplish that?
And that setup would have been fantastic if we were giving them the audit. We were saying, okay, now you can buy an audit from us. And that was a sales pitch at that point. And then we can decide based on the audit whether we want to work with you. It was a theory that I just was not matched with my wanting to help companies. But just there are so many different questions that companies have, and I'm always open to answering questions for anybody just in general. But to solve the business questions, to solve the questions, how can I get more leads? How can I get more sales? Some of those are very easy answers, and some of them might be very difficult. I'm doing some research on some companies right now. I'm finding a lot of companies that have 6 to 8 year old websites out there. No one's going to want to spend any more time seeing your website because you didn't care about your website enough. What does that say about your business? There are people who are I love when I go to a Facebook page and they did a great job in February of 2017 setting up their page, and they got pictures and here's this great example, and never went back to it. But you click on the icon, it shows up, but it shows that they just didn't care enough, or they didn't have the time enough. And that's really the part of you don't know what that answer is, but most of the time it's too much information for a business owner to understand of what to do and how to process it, or to have the right staffers to do that. So I work with businesses and those that work for businesses in many different ways to help them reach their potential of being the understanding marketing and doing the right implementations to help them be successful.
Yeah, I love that for sure. So some people say they deal with this, some people that say they don't. I think everybody deals with it to a level or not, and their awareness of it kind of often dictates their level of success. But how do you deal with naysayers? Like, I'm sure when you went from corporate America and said, hey, I'm done here, I'm going to go build my own business, there's going to be some people in your life who are just like, oh, you should just stick with the corporate world, stick with a steady, secure income. And that happens with anybody who's going off into their own business. And if it's not coming from outside, then it comes from within on some level or another. But how did you deal with naysayers, and how did you silence them in your head so you could just get on with what you needed to do?
There's always going to be that. There's always people that everyone has an opinion. Everyone has a right to opinion, and everyone likes to share their opinion. You have to have an understanding of what's the right decision at the right time. I tried to do consulting 6-7 years ago, And I went from when I was working with traffic radio, and I thought it was the right time, but I needed some extra income on the side. So I got the job at 1010XL, the sports radio station. That just took on a life of its own because of my contacts, my relations. I brought them business that they'd never seen before. And I did not have the time for individual clients on the side. I had a couple of pieces I was able to hold on to for as long as I could, but my schedule was the radio station. So I stopped. Now, really understanding businesses a lot better. I have a lot more experience having worked now for 2 different agencies. I know what's needed out there, and I'm getting that response from the companies that I'm working with. And it's just, sometimes you just need time you need a time to say, okay, look, here's what's been accomplished by these people, because I've had the opportunity to work with them individually where I couldn't have done it before, and I couldn't have done it in the setting that I was at the agency. And sometimes there's opportunities for dollars that can't be created in a job, and you just have to say, okay, I have faith in myself. I have perseverance to get through the tough times, and I know what has been accomplished when I've put my efforts into it. I know what my legacy is. I know where I look back, and my thumbprint is on the success of these companies because I spent the time and the type of effort I put in during that time. So I look forward to the day I look back and say, I started this at the right time, and these are the great results, and these are the case studies that I have that show the results, and we can have that conversation again in a year or two.
Yeah, no, I think that is the key. One, it's okay if you try and fail and like have to go back, or not even that you failed. It was just you started doing 2 things, and one of them ended up being bigger than the other.
Exactly.
And just because you weren't an entrepreneur and you're still working for somebody else, that's okay. Ultimately, when timing was right, he was able to go off and get be successful in his own right. Not that he wasn't successful before, but now it's all on his own business. And that's key to that. What makes that happen is, okay, well, I know I'm just going to go do it. And it doesn't matter if I already have a track record of success, although it may not be success in business ownership or all by myself. I've been coaching multiple businesses. And so now I can take the success, and some success is transferable into a different, not even a different career path, but your own career path rather than somebody else's, building somebody else's business.
Exactly. I've been a coach for most of my entire life. Now I'm just going to call myself a business coach.
Yeah, no, I love that. So what would you say is, if you were to focus on one habit, mindset, or behavior that you've used to create the legacy that you've done, what would you say that one habit, mindset, or behavior is? And then how could we adopt it into our own lives?
I would say it's learning. I go back to the best habit is to make the assumption is that you do not know everything, and that there's pieces there that you can learn at all times. I didn't know anything about social media 10 years ago, 12 years ago, and lo and behold, you take. I love when people give out free webinars, even if they're trying to sell something at the end. I think there's something I can get out of it while listening. I take as many classes as possible, read the books as possible. You always want to be learning. You always want to, I'm on Twitter all the time. I have 12,000 followers on Twitter. It takes effort to do that. And I had no idea how to do that when I started. So I think that's you want to look at a visual check mark of success from just learning. That's one of them.
Yeah, no, so funny story about that, actually. Just last week, I think it was last week. I was meeting with this gentleman, and he's a real estate agent and investor. And I was proposing some different forms of investment other than real estate. He's like, well, Think and Grow Rich and Rich Dad Poor Dad say only invest in what you know. I'm like, I totally agree with them. Don't get me wrong. I'm not disagreeing with them. All I'm doing is asking you to know more. right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm asking you to learn a little bit more about what I'm doing so that you can see how it's going to benefit you, because I already know it can benefit you. Most of my clientele is in your demographic, but you don't know it can benefit you yet until you learn a little bit more. So just suspend disbelief and say, okay, well, what if I did learn a little bit about this? How could it benefit me? I love that you're okay with any free webinar, like, hey, if it's free, I can gain something from it, I'll take it.
Exactly.
Even if they're trying to sell me something, I don't care. Like, I'm sure there's value there, regardless of whether they sell me. And sometimes their sales pitches are pretty good. So you just do it.
And you maybe you learn about sales pitch, and maybe you learn that, hey, I can do this better. You tell me all these pieces of information, but I feel more confident with what I know and what I can do, and perhaps I'm the one that should be doing the webinar the next time.
Yeah, no, that happened as well. I went to a 2-day workshop that I paid like $500 to go to it or whatever. But my whole purpose in going, because these coaches, they're like business/life coaches, and they've been coaching people, and they sell their packages, their coaching programs, for anywhere from $20,000 to $60,000. And so when I went, I paid $500, and I didn't go to buy one of their coaching programs. I went to dissect how they sell. Like, when do they close people? When do they lay their hook? When do they make their call to action? The whole thing. And it was funny because there was 3 different coaches there, and it was each person did it differently. But one of them, I was honestly kind of shocked. I don't know why I was shocked, but it's just not typical. He basically sold everybody in the first 30 minutes. And then the rest of the time was just getting people, like, adding value so that when he actually asked for the money, they were willing to give it. But he got everybody to agree that essentially opportunity comes by once in a lifetime. And if you don't act, then you're going to miss out. Like, that was his close. He closed them, and everybody's like, oh yeah, I've done that. I've missed out too many times. I'm not going to miss out anymore in life. I'm totally bought into taking every opportunity I can to step up. And so he had everybody bought in the first half hour. I was like, whoa, that is some closing in the beginning of a sales pitch that I've never seen before. And most of the people, they were oblivious to what was going on, but I was like, whoa. That just blew my mind. These poor people have no idea what they just committed to. And they're like,
those seminars are great. They really are.
It was cool to watch, though. I mean, like, from a skill perspective, it was phenomenal. And he deserves props. I didn't end up buying his service because I already bought a service. I got what I paid for, but maybe more than I paid for. So you had mentioned you the first time you tried to go and become your own business owner, you had a side job, and that ended up being more time than you bargained for, I guess, but in a good way. How did you jump from the corporate America steady paycheck type of maybe salaried income to something where now your income is really just dependent on you? How did you financially float that difference?
Again, timing is everything. It has to be the right time to do certain things, the right ability to do that. When you don't have that ability, that can be extremely difficult, because day one, you don't have clients. Day two, you might have a prospect, but you don't have a client. Day three, unless you're really good, you don't have a client yet. But you want to be sure that people are paying that first month. You have to have a strong enough statement about who you are and backstory, because those first clients, and probably say for every client, have to pay for that first month first. You can't do all the work and then say, here's your bill. I experienced that 7 years ago when I have a great, terrible story from that goes on to that. Guy got arrested. It was a whole mess the day I went to get my paycheck. But again, life is about timing, having the right people around you if there's an issue, and then you then start running up that hill as fast as possible. You gotta build it and have the faith that you can build it, but the clock is always ticking. It's a month will go by very fast, and the same bills will come in, and you learn a lot about yourself within this process.
Absolutely. I'm curious, because I don't know how you've built your structure necessarily. What's the split, or is there a split between how much you have on reoccurring, like subscription-based type processes and commission, where you just like sell somebody something, you help them for X amount of time, and then they're no longer necessarily your client. They've got their exchange and they're done. Now, if they come back and rehire you, that's happy days for everybody, right? But if they don't rehire you, they got their value and gone. What's the difference between the passive, where it's coming in every month on a subscription basis, and where it's just transactional?
I have, I guess, 3 different approaches, we'll call it.
Okay.
One is the direct coaching with companies. And with that's, I guess we can call it subscription based. They're agreeing for a number of months to a year of service with me. So they're paying on a monthly recurring basis, and that's all done electronically. So they don't have to worry about picking up a pen for a check, and I have to worry about the results of the check. The second is I actually have an e-learning site. So not everyone can afford coaching, but everyone needs some sort of level of education. So it's not just the business owners. While it's focused on business owners to learn the marketing, so they're doing things themselves. It's also the employees of the businesses, a student coming out of school who wants to learn about business marketing. So I have an e-learning site that, again, is a subscription based. They sign up for a year. It's becomeamarketingexpert.com, and you can learn how to master your business and for over 2 hours a week. So really limited time, because you have a limited time. But every week there's a video lesson, there's an audio lesson, there's information that's being emailed to you, opportunities to be on phone calls with experts, and you can learn more about your marketing. Again, that's a subscription base. Also, the third one is, because I've worked with agencies the last number of years, I have the ability to be one. So if a website needs to get built, if a campaign needs to get created, those aren't really subscription based, they're contract based. And once the website is done, I just recently worked with a laser liposuction company here in Jacksonville, and to really create a branding campaign for them. Logo, business cards, brochure, website, and structure to move on from there. And so that was a contract. And at some point we may do business again. At some point we may not. But those are opportunities that I can choose to do on an account by account basis, or work with my coaching businesses, because they also will have those needs to bring them the services, the needs. If they have their website disaster, I want to be the one to manage the build of the website, and they can do it through me to do that.
Yeah, that's awesome. So with your e-learning platform, you said a year. Does it auto renew at the end of the year? Do they pay monthly and it just keeps going until they cancel it? Like, how does that work?
It's a 52-week program. So they're technically paying for 12 months, 1 month at a time. And it's amazing what information you're getting on a weekly basis. A lot of different types of experts involved in the communication that you're receiving, and video, and whether you want to download it, you can just listen to the lessons, but also the live phone calls that come along with it. You're really getting a chance to ask questions and hear what other issues people are having. And it's a great way to learn very easily. Especially, I would love to be able to coach every business, but I do know that businesses, it all comes down to budget, and sometimes you really can't afford it. But this is, I've really whittled it down to it's really $97 a month, and you're getting the education that you probably should have had before you started your business, but now need to fill in the blanks while you're running. But whether it's an employee who wants a promotion, whether it's a student who really wants to be a master and become, whether they want to be a business owner themselves or move up the ladder, whatever they're doing, this is, again, education that you're not going to get from the textbooks in a college class, but from experts who've lived it and have implemented it.
Yeah, no, and part of that is making sure that content is always up to date. And that's why it'd be beneficial to pay for a long-term thing and then potentially stay on, is because I know just in social media, and the rest of it, I think there's certain principles that are more long-lasting, but social media, that changes almost monthly, if not weekly. Algorithms, how to market, what new features there are, what new platforms there are to be on, to be like some of the new early adopters. And it's just changing so fast.
Yep. A year ago, no one was talking about TikTok, and now that's seems to be a bigger buzz with companies.
Yeah.
And doing live with LinkedIn has evolved over the course of the last probably 3 months. I've seen that really exploding. And Facebook, every day they find something else different to change and surprise you with. So it's really good to find the right ways to get that information on a regular basis. And those who are taking the course with me, there's ways to continue the conversation after the fact. If they need more, I'm always willing to find the different ways to provide them more.
Yeah, cool. So how can we best, like, let's say one of a few things, right? Maybe we want to just support you and help you spread your message because we think it's awesome. Maybe we want to be part of your, part of one of those systems, whether it's a $97 a month online, or we want to work with you and have us just consult with our company, or we want to get some branding done. What's the best place to go to get a hold of you and kind of, like you said, review what you're about and see more in detail, maybe a free call or something like that, where they can kind of get a hold of you and just see how can they benefit from what you're doing?
Sure. I appreciate that. The best place to find me is my website, findnewrevenue.com. And there's a lot of information. You can download my ebook from there, 45 Minutes Business Breakthrough, which really goes through a number of different steps that can help you find leads, sales, and revenue that really are existing in your business right now if given the right opportunity and guidance. If you're interested in my e-learning course on business marketing, become a marketingexpert.com, all together in the URL, and that will send you right to the information page, and you're able to make the purchase right there and get you started. If you want to follow me on Twitter, it's H Wolpoff, HWOL, P as in Peter, O, F as in Frank, F as in Frank. Very active there, and a good way to connect with me. But either of those ways, there's ways to reach me directly through my website, findnewrevenue.com.
Awesome. And are you on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook? Just
yes, and yes.
Yes. That's good.
LinkedIn under my name, Howard Wolpoff. Facebook is the full name of my company, Profit Master Business Solutions. If you go to findnewrevenue.com, you can be sent there as well. And Instagram is H Wolpoff as well, just like Twitter. Awesome.
So here's my second favorite part of the episode, and this is called Legacy on Rapid Fire. The first part I enjoy, but these last two questions or last two sections are my favorite. So Legacy on Rapid Fire, looking for a 1-word to 1-sentence answer. Okay, I'm going to ask you 5 questions about your legacy and where you're at and where you're going. Fair enough?
Okay. Fair enough.
So what do you believe is holding you back from reaching the next level of your legacy?
6 months ago, I would have said leaving the agency, but now I've done that. Time. I think time will help me develop this next level of my legacy, and just messaging, getting my message out there in the easiest ways possible.
Awesome. And what do you believe the hardest thing you've ever accomplished has been?
Wow. I think that, wow, it's a great question. I've had some very interesting challenges in my life. I think just taking a pause from everything and going back to business school. I was working at Chelsea Piers, which is a big sports entertainment complex in New York. I really wanted to pursue marketing, and that wasn't going for me there. So I said stop, and I went full time to business school and got my MBA. While I was there, I got the internship with the Brooklyn Cyclones, and that's what started me in my career in baseball.
Man, that is so cool. What do you believe the greatest success at this point in your life has been?
I'm really proud of my legacy with 1010XL, the sports radio station. It was a meandering independent station when I got there. We were able to jump in sales to there's obviously the tracking in every market of how radio stations do. And by the time I left, we were 3rd in the market for sales every month. And that's dealing with the iHeartRadios and the Cox Media stations and all their bundlings that they do, and we also are able to get the contract for the Jacksonville Jaguars to be their flagship radio station. So really good memories from those experiences.
That is incredible. Lots of accomplishments there. What do you believe one of your secrets that contributes the most to your success is?
Perseverance. I learned early on, especially a lot of the jobs I've had have been sales related, and you learn very quickly it's not the first phone call that's going to get the sale, but it's also not the second or third. Sometimes you have to call 10 times, and it's calling, it's email, it's text, it's doing it in different ways to get people's attention. You have to be persistent, because communication is not how you're communicating. It's communicating the way people want to be communicated with. And sometimes you got to figure out what that is.
Yeah, that is so true. I would say in this day and age, it used to be like 7 touches and you'd get a close or you'd get a sale. I think it is closer to like 10 to 15 now.
Exactly.
Yeah. And if they're all the same form of touches, then it's probably higher than that. I mean, it's got to be, if it's 12 to 15,
call,
you're doing
email,
it multiple ways.
Text, a drop by, you name it.
Yeah, it's crazy. So what are maybe 3 or 4, maybe 2 or 3 books that you would recommend to the Fuel Your Legacy audience?
My 2 favorite books, again, my background coming from sports, have a sports angle to it, but a sales angle to it as well. Vec is in Rec. If you haven't read that book, you've not read a great business book. And this is sports. It's Bill Veeck, the former owner of the Cleveland Indians and the St. Louis Browns in baseball. Every giveaway that you've ever gone to at the ballpark is because of Bill Veeck. Bat Day and Ladies Day, and if you ever seen the field in Wrigley Field with all the ivy in the back, he and his father are the ones that planted that decades ago. Veeck is in Rec. He is a couple of, I think the Hustler's Handbook is the other book of his, and those are amazing. And then a second one called Selling Ice to the Eskimos, and that's by John Spolestra, a basketball executive who was challenged with working for the New Jersey Nets way back when they were beyond terrible, and he needed to fill the arena and fill the sponsorship. So he sold every other team coming to the arena except the Nets. The Michael Jordan's coming, Clyde Drexler's coming, and was able to sell out the arena by selling something different, even though that wasn't truly what his product was. So it's a lot of creative ways about selling that to really message to people to really capture their attention.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'll have to look that one up. That's fascinating. Selling what else?
Ice to the Eskimos.
Yeah, no, I like it. Okay, so this is my favorite question. This is why I do this whole episode. I mean, the whole podcast, really. So talking about what legacy you're building, we're going to pretend that you've died, gone away, and sometimes this backfires on me because some of my guests, they don't have children. So if that's you, just play along, okay?
Fair enough. I do have 3 children.
Good. One guy asked it, and he's like, I just have dogs. I don't have any kids. I was like, okay, what do you want your dogs to remember? No, so, okay, you're dead. We're 6 generations away from now. So your great-great-great-great-great-grandchildren, you're able to kind of view them sitting around the dinner table talking about what your legacy was, what your life meant. What do you want them to be saying 6 generations from now about what your legacy was?
I was present. I think that really is a statement. Involved with the things I was doing, whether it's within community and being visible, charitable with your time. I have there's physical things you can see what I have done. Obviously, the launch of the Brooklyn Cyclones. I have a championship ring to pass along to my generations that can reflect the things that I did there. Even going back, I spent a lot of summers at Sleepaway Camp, and the very big network of people from there. And I love that, even though I'm not in New York right now, when people go for visiting day, they will go and take photos of the building that has the stage. I used to run the lighting crews, and there's charts of the lighting crews that from every summer. I ran it for like 6 or 7 summers. So my name is on the rafters in many different places. They'll take photos and send it to me every year. That's my legacy in camp. And my name lives on, even though my last summer working there was 1992. And so and I was present. I just didn't go and be a part of it. I found ways to be a leader and help people enjoy their experience.
Yeah, I think that's one of the best, that's got to be one of the best compliments I think that somebody could give you, is that you're present. I've heard quite a few people, that's what they would say that they want to be said about them. And it's true. See, that's what I love about this episode. I didn't know that's what he was going to say, but his stories are consistent with being present. Every job he took, everywhere where he went, when he got the second job at 10X to kind of help, was it 10X or what was the
10XL?
10XL, right? So he had his own job, like he was doing his own thing, but as soon as he joined that company, he didn't just halfway do that. He went all in. And sometimes you go all in to really show somebody or do something that's maybe not identical to your dream or your career, but what you're doing, are you all in? Are you all into being a parent? Are you all into being a religious leader? Are you all into your commitments in any area of life? And if you're not, then why not? And maybe think about that. I love that your legacy is going to be that you are present. And I think that already, based on the life you've lived, you're living that legacy rather than just planning on telling people that that's what your legacy is going to be. And that's powerful that you're actually living it. So thank you so much. I appreciate you,
thank you.
Being on the show and sharing your expertise with us, because I think, again, I look at these guests. I've gotten a lot of offers for people to be on my show, and I only bring people on when I think that what their skill set has multiple application. There's a lot of people who are just like, well, I want to come in and pitch my thing. I'm like, hey, I'm totally cool being a platform. I have no problem sharing the platform, but I don't want to share the platform with people who aren't building a legacy and aren't doing what they're doing with intention and purpose. And that's what from just reviewing kind of some of the links and what you have built, I saw that, and that's why I wanted to have you on. And that's why I said, yes, let's get Howard on here, because those skills, regardless whether it's business or family or church or whatever, they're absolutely applicable, especially when he boils it down to, are you present?
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And I really appreciate this experience. This is, I'm always amazed with people who are that dedicated to podcasting, and you've well over 100 episodes. It's quite a legacy that you're building here as well.
I love it. This started out as just like a way to de-stress for me, honestly. I was like, I'm tired. Like, I love what I do for work, but sometimes I just like to talk, and I want to talk to other smart people and people who see the world similar to me. And that's why I started this, is how can I get in contact with more people who see the world like I do, and build good, strong relationships with them. So thank you so much, Howard. And we will catch you next time on Fuel Your Legacy. Thanks for joining us today. If what you heard resonated with you, please like, comment, and share on social media. Tag me so I can give you a shout out on the next episode. And thanks to all those who have left a review. It helps spread the message of what it really takes to build a legacy that lasts. Catch you next time on Fueling Your Legacy.